When you think about the world around you, what actually exists? If you're like most people, you'd probably say that the chair you are sitting in or the floor you are standing on is real. Are you a scientist? Do you believe that chair or floor is made up of tiny particles called atoms? Have you ever seen an atom? If you're like most people, you haven't, and yet you still believe they exist. What you just went through was an exercise in metaphysics, a division of philosophy that is concerned with the fundamental nature of reality and being. I've often had trouble explaining emptiness to my friends. The goal of this video is to eventually understand the Buddhist goal of ending suffering through the understanding of emptiness. Buckle up. When someone tells you to be yourself, what do you think about? What is your self? Do you have an emotional side, a workaholic side, or a party side? What about how you make decisions? You probably see or hear things and then make decisions in your head based on that vision or hearing. Buddhism loves breaking down human experience into categories. Think through observing a stack of pancakes on a Sunday morning. First, through the visual observation, round discs with a tan color a few inches tall. Next comes the feeling you attach to that observation, happiness. Then, your perception of that observation. Pancakes are delicious and satiating. Then, your intention. I want to eat the pancakes to bring me joy and sate my hunger. All of these processes are said to be tied together by consciousness. But this is just the start for Buddhism. Could you further break the pancakes down into tiny pancake crumbs? What makes up those crumbs? Buddhism makes the argument that these crumbs are made up of many infinitely small particles that never change and always exist in the world. These particles possess unique qualities which make it impossible to say that any two of them are the same. Makes sense? So these tiny particles do exist, even if we cannot see them or fully understand them. Everyone shares their perceptions of the particles because they exist in the same way for everyone. Hold that thought. Can you think of a time when you showed a friend a meme you thought was funny, only for them to react with distaste or disapproval? What about people who think cilantro tastes like dish soap? Weird, right? People have different perceptions of what appear to be the same things. If these things do not have the same meaning for everyone, how can they be ultimately real? There must be an in-between where we refer to things as being the same to make it easier to communicate. It may be apt now to say that these infinitely small particles have nothing intrinsic, nothing that is the same for all who interact with them. So, what is ultimately real and shared in the world? By this point, you may understand that the answer may be nothing. This is emptiness. Some Buddhists believe that understanding emptiness is the key to the end of suffering, by transcending the very idea of it. If nothing has intrinsic value, then how can suffering have intrinsic value? How can I suffer when there is nothing left that is ultimately real in the world?
I hate pancakes.
Do you feel like you understand the Buddhist idea of emptiness?
Yes. Mostly, yes.
I think I understand how some Buddhists use it as a means of bypassing suffering and not having to experience suffering more than I understand exactly what the Buddhist explanation of emptiness is.
What do you think about your own personal interpretation of life and life and meaning as it has to do with the Buddhist concept of emptiness?
I think I want to live with pain forever. I would stop going to college, eventually, theoretically, stop talking to my family, and these are all terrible, bad things from my current perspective. So I would be extraordinarily hesitant and apprehensive of trying to accept that idea. But this idea of emptiness and nothing exists so you can't suffer is a distant cousin to nihilism, where nothing matters so there's no reason to care about anything. That seems like a logical step in the direction of nothing is real, so you can't suffer, to me.
I think maybe sometimes in life it would be helpful, but I think overall, like, it would be hard, especially because, like, I'm so used to a world where, like, especially, like, material items have such, like, value, or, like, whether it be, like, like, a picture that's sentimental, or, like, a shirt that you like, or, like, something like that, like, but obviously other times, like, sometimes it's nice to be like, wow, like, everything's actually just nothing. So I think, like, having that kind of view of just, like, world's literally like emptiness, like, it's nothing, like, can help just kind of, like, take a step back, I think.
I thought that the analogies and the manners in which you explained it were unique and creative and fun. Like pulling someone out of the Matrix for the first time. And then Neo gets taken into the ship and then plugged into the system, and they load up, like, this base reality. He's like, so this isn't real? And then Morpheus was like, well, what is real? And there's some similar questions.
What is real? How do you define real? If you're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell, what you can taste and see, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain.
I hate pancakes.
I didn't say it would be easy, Neo. I just said it would be the truth.
Stop. Let me out. Let me out. I want out.